Philadelphia News, team of my heart.
He almost came once before, and now, you might not believe it, but the rumors are starting to swirl all over again. What if this time, it's actually possible? Look, I won't say the name just yet, but I will tell you this. If this actually happens, it changes everything for the Sixers. So I'll challenge you. Can you figure out who this is before the reveal? If you can, drop the name and tell me at what exact moment you realized it. Let's see who really knows their Sixers news. Now let me talk to you. Yeah, you, the Sixers fan who's been through it all. The second round exits, the endless injuries, the drama, the hope, the heartbreak, the rebuilds and the reloads. Year after year, you've asked the same thing. When is it finally our time? You've stuck around, you've kept believing, but you're tired of the babies. You want something real, something different, something unforgettable. And here's where it gets wild. The most unrealistic pipe dream might not be so unrealistic anymore. Because this latest rumor is not just a what if, it's not clickbait, it's not another fantasy cooked up on a message board. No, this time the smoke is real. And where there's smoke, yeah, you know the rest. The truth is, there's real tension out west. And when a certain generational figure starts making subtle moves, posting cryptic messages, and suddenly doesn't sound too happy with his front office anymore, you better believe the league notices. You better believe Daryl Morey notices. Now, I know what you're thinking. Come on, this is too far-fetched. He'd never come here. But would he? Remember 2018? He almost did. It was close. Philly was on the list. It wasn't a long list. And even though he didn't choose us then, maybe now is different. Maybe now the timing's just right. Because this Sixers team, it's got the cap space, it's got the talent, it's got an MVP big man who still demands double teams even when playing on one leg. It's got a rising star point guard who's just scratching the surface. It's got a respected coach. And it's got a city starving for a championship. You feel that? That's not just hope, that's possibility. And here's where it gets wild. The most unrealistic pipe dream might not be so unrealistic anymore. Because this latest rumor, it's not just a what if. It's not clickbait. It's not another fantasy cooked up on a message board. No, this time the smoke is real. And where there's smoke, yeah, you know the rest. The truth is, there's real tension out west, and when a certain generational figure starts making subtle moves, posting cryptic messages, and suddenly doesn't sound too happy with his front office anymore, you better believe the league notices. You better believe Daryl Morey notices. Now, I know what you're thinking. Come on, this is too far-fetched. He'd never come here. But would he? Remember 2018? He almost did. It was close. Philly was on the list. It wasn't a long list. And even though he didn't choose us then, maybe now is different. Maybe now the timing's just right. Because this Sixers team, it's got the cap space, it's got the talent, it's got an MVP big man who still demands double teams even when playing on one leg. It's got a rising star point guard who's just scratching the surface. It's got a respected coach. And it's got a city starving for a championship. You feel that? That's not just hope, that's possibility. And here's what makes this more than a fantasy. His current situation is breaking down, quietly, slowly, but clearly. According to a trusted insider close to the Lakers, things are no longer in the best place. There's tension, there's silence when there should be statements, there's strategy in play. This is how it starts. Every time he's left before, this is what it's looked like. It happened in Miami, in Cleveland, and now it's happening in LA. And you know what comes next. He looks around the league and asks, where can I win right now? Where can I control the roster? Where can I be surrounded by enough talent, enough flexibility, and enough hunger to chase one more ring? And that's where your Sixers, yeah, your Sixers, suddenly enter the chat. Now imagine it, the Wells Fargo Center under the lights, the crowd rising, the cameras locked in, and then that name gets called out. You can't see it yet, But if this plays out the way it's trending, you might not have to imagine it much longer. There's real traction, there's growing tension, and for the Sixers, this might be the one door that opens up when no one else expected it. Not a rebuild, not a reset, but a superstar rescue. And I know you don't want another false alarm. You've been through enough. But this time, you can feel the energy shifting. This isn't a fairy tale. This is Sixers news that could blow up the entire Eastern Conference landscape if it comes true. So here's what I want you to do. Stay with me, watch closely, and pay attention to the details, because the signs are there, the pressure is building, and the pieces, they're lining up in ways they never have before. Now, do you know who I'm talking about yet? So now you're probably on edge. You've got a name in your head. Maybe you've known it since the first few lines. Maybe you're still putting the puzzle together. But either way, the question that's about to shake up Sixers news more than any recent trade is this. What if the one player who's haunted your franchise for years suddenly wanted to play for it? And before you go brushing that off, think about everything going on right now. This isn't some wild fantasy tossed out by a bored fan on Twitter. This is coming from someone inside the Lakers' walls, a reporter who knows how these things play out, and he's not hiding it anymore. The frustration is bubbling, the lack of communication, the absence of that typical PR announcement, the awkward silence that only means one thing. Things behind the scenes are breaking down. And you know what happens when this specific superstar starts to feel disconnected. He doesn't throw tantrums, he doesn't go public, he does something far more dangerous. He plots, quietly, strategically, just like he did in Miami, and Cleveland, and now again in LA. Now pause and ask yourself, why did he opt into his contract instead of becoming a free agent? That move wasn't about loyalty. That was leverage. That was a signal, not just to the Lakers, but to the entire NBA. You want me? Make it happen. And you better believe the Sixers are watching closely. And this is where it gets good for you, because Philly is perfectly positioned. They've got the money, they've got the pieces, they've got players on expiring deals and young talent that other franchises would love to develop. But more than that, they've got desperation, that beautiful, powerful desperation that comes from a city that's tired of being close, a team that needs to go all in. You've waited long enough. You've watched the Bucks load up. You've seen the Celtics finally get over the top. You've seen the Heat punch above their weight year after year. And here you are, still holding on, still hoping Joel Embiid's body holds up, still praying Tyrese Maxey can take another leap, and still wondering if Paul George will actually play up to his contract. But let's be real. If Paul George fizzles out again this season, how many more chances can you give him? How many more excuses before you say enough? You know the answer. So now imagine flipping that situation completely. Imagine not being the team that lets go of the star, but the team that brings one in, one who instantly transforms your franchise, one who changes the national conversation overnight, one who's been to 10 NBA finals, one who still commands double teams and media frenzy and fear from every coach in the league. Now imagine him in a Sixers uniform. Imagine him next to Embiid with Maxey slicing through defenses and the floor spaced like never before. Imagine playoff basketball in Philly with that kind of leadership. The late game control, the veteran poise, the championship DNA. And before you say it's impossible, remember 2018. This was almost reality. It was down to two teams. The city was ready. The fans were fired up. The pitch was made. And yes, it slipped away then. But sometimes these things come back around. And this time, the situation feels different. The Sixers have the flexibility, the urgency, the assets, the front office, the ambition. This is the kind of scenario Daryl Morey lives for, the kind that separates franchises that watch greatness from those who go get it. So let me ask you straight up, if this player actually became available, would you want the Sixers to risk it all?
Would you trade future picks, young pieces, and role players if it meant getting a shot at one final run with one of the greatest ever? Don't answer too quickly. Think like a champion, because opportunities like this don't come twice. Now go to the comments right now and tell me, do you believe this is even possible? And more than that, would you want it to happen? Say yes or no and tell me why. And if you've made it this far in the video, drop the word King Sixer in the comments so I know you're one of the real ones who stuck around. Because now, finally, it's time to say the name you've probably known since the beginning. Yes, it's LeBron James. The whispers are turning into real discussions, and Philadelphia, they might be getting ready to go all in. So if you want to stay ahead of every single Sixers news update, if you don't want to miss a single trade whisper or superstar